What would happen if Spartacus conquered Rome? Imagine Rome burning, shadows of legionaries retreating through streets, and Spartacus standing atop the forum, staring at a city that had symbolized power and order for centuries. What would have happened if Spartacus had won? If the slaves had risen and taken control of Rome? Would the world ever have been the same again? AuraBeyond.
Who I am. I'm not of this earth. What you don't know, I've known since birth.
The rebellion began with hunger and injustice, with tens of thousands of slaves finally saying, enough. Their strength was not only in muscles, but in unity, in the belief in a leader who knew inspiration could be more powerful than the sword. Spartacus was a legend, a man who challenged the very machinery of the Roman Empire. His charisma rallied those who longed for freedom, who dreamed of a world without chains, a world where no one could decide life or death for another. Roman legions came to crush the uprising, but every attack was repelled. Every attempt to break the rebels turned into disaster for Rome. Whispers ran through the streets. What would happen if Spartacus didn't stop? Could the legions still control the city, or would power forever change hands? Imagine the Senate hiding, patricians fleeing, while forums and streets became spaces of freedom and fear. Slaves were no longer numbers. They were no longer obedient. They were a force capable of shaping the future. What would happen to laws, to political structures that had held Rome together for centuries? Would the empire endure, or would it fracture into smaller city-states freed from tyranny? Spartacus was more than a leader. He was a symbol of ideals. People followed him because they believed the world could be different. Each victory over the legions brought euphoria, but also new dilemmas: what to do with the city, how to maintain peace among freed people of different languages, cultures, and beliefs. Would freedom endure, or would new conflicts replace the old? As Romans tried to reorganize their troops, Spartacus's army advanced. Each battle was a test, not only of strength, but of patience, planning, and wisdom. Power was in the hands of those who had survived slavery, and now had the chance to shape the world by their own rules. What would happen to religion, to tradition, to the centers of power that had shaped Europe and the Mediterranean for centuries? Rome, once considered untouchable, was now the stage of alternative history. People began to realize that rebellion could change the course of history, that the courage of one man and faith in justice could topple an empire. Would the new government be just, or would a new elite rise, turning tyranny into another form? As Spartacus walked through the streets, he pondered the future. Every decision was critical. Would he free all slaves and allow them to shape their lives themselves? Or would he need to create a system to maintain order and stability? People watched him with fear and hope. How could freedom survive without the violence and injustice that had previously shaped society? Fear of Rome faded from the eyes of the people, but fear of the future grew. How would the world react to a new empire not led by senators and patricians, but by freed slaves? Would neighboring states recognize the new order or attempt to destroy it? Every decision Spartacus made would shape the fate of millions. With each passing day, the strength of the slaves grew, and Rome transformed. Forums, temples, streets, all were in the hands of those who had been enslaved just yesterday. Could the old Romans adapt, or would their power vanish forever? And as new leaders tried to learn how to govern freedom, the question remained, could liberty survive while the world was not yet ready for it? Would philosophy, art, and science flourish under the new order, or would chaos take over? Every choice of how to wield power carried risk. History would have no certain path. Ideals of freedom, equality, and justice were tested in the harshest way: live in real time, with millions depending on one rebellion and one leader. The streets echoed with the footsteps of the liberated, the clash of swords long gone, replaced by the murmur of a people discovering their own agency. Would these newly freed citizens create a society of balance and law? Or would ambition turn the freed into oppressors of others? Could Spartacus's vision of justice hold against the weight of human flaws? And while Rome trembled under the new rule, the world watched. Inspiration and fear spread faster than legions ever could. New narratives, new culture, new power, all shifted permanently. People would speak of Spartacus not merely as a victor, but as a symbol of what one person's courage could do to change history. The question lingers: would the freedom he fought for endure, or would a new cycle of power and injustice begin again? As we look back through the stars and into the past, remember, every story leaves a mark on the universe. If you enjoyed the journey, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us again as we explore the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.